I'm Max6 and we are back at the Mecca, and today I got some fresh blood. IFBB Pro figure, Kim Jones.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Kim.
Nice to meet you as well. Always glad to be here at the Mecca, legendary place to train. And I wanted to share some injury prevention techniques for shoulder pain or any kind of pain that people might be having, overhead pressing type of movements. And just show you some mobility exercises as well to show you how to get good activation before your lifts.
All right, so we're actually going to learn something today, Kim.
We're going to learn a lot today.
All right, let's get in there.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay. So here's a quick tip to help you find your pec minor. Put your hand in the small of your back. Okay. You're going to lean against the wall and literally push your back into your hand. Now, if you push your hand against the wall, put your opposite hand on your pec, outer pec. You should feel that muscle pop out, and that's your pec minor. So when you roll it out, that's the area where you want to focus the rolling out on.
Otherwise, if you don't even know where it's at, it's hard to fix it.
It's hard to fix it. Yeah, exactly. And you're probably still going to have pain in your
Gotcha.
shoulders.
Okay, that's a good tip. Okay.
So I found mine. I'm going to put the ball in that area, and I'm going to apply enough pressure so that it's tolerable. You don't want to murder your muscles. And my protocol is to roll out 10 to 12 rolls or 30 to 60 seconds and then leave it alone so more superficial tissues don't become inflamed. You can lift your arms up 90 degrees, kind of hit it at different lengths, or get that arm overhead. You can even try rolling it out with your hand behind your back. But once you find that tender spot, that's the area where you want to focus your attention. 10 to 12 rolls or 30 to 60 seconds.
Where do you get that ball?
Oh, this ball is a Rad round. It's from a company called Rad Roller, so it says Rad on it. It's a little bit smaller than a lacrosse ball, but not as hard, but dense enough to hit most areas, front, top, bottom, front, back.
Awesome. All right, thanks.
The problem people might have is bicep tendonitis, and that can create pain in the shoulder. I've had it before. I was doing a reverse fly machine exercise, and on the way coming back forward, felt some clicking in my shoulder, so that's a big indicator of bicep tendonitis. That tendon's just kind of slipping out of the bicipital groove and creating some discomfort. So if you're feeling that or experiencing any kind of clicking, that's a red flag. And just like any other exercise where you're going to use the wall, you want to drop your hips, lean into the wall, try to find that spot. So we're going to hit front part of the shoulder. You want to be gentle. You don't want to put too much pressure on that area, but you're just going to roll front to back, or I should say side to side, up and down. Again, 10 to 12 rolls or 30 to 60 seconds. I like to actually drop it a little bit lower, rotate my palm forward so I can hit a little bit of the bicep as well, where the bicep meets the shoulder.
You make it look easy.
You know, fortunately I don't have any tendonitis, so it's not painful, but if you have experienced it, this is a good way to kind of help that tendon get back in place. The subscapularis is a muscle that lies on the front of the scapula, and it's an internal rotator. So if we're internally rotated, we're rounded, we may have issues with overhead pressing, which requires external rotation to get those armpits forward. So if you're having issues with pain with your overhead pressing movements, maybe you got to hit the subscapularis and lengthen that muscle to get better range of motion and less pain. So I'm going to show you how you can hit that with a ball and a yoga block.
Oh yeah, hey, what's that box? What's that box?
So the yoga box, it's a yoga box that Rad makes, and what I dig about it is it's got these indentations. So if you want to use this to roll out against a surface, it just kind of either props you up or puts you in an optimal position where you can get the range of motion you need.
Nice.
To really target those muscles.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to use this edge of the wall right here to find the subscapularis. You literally just kind of got to dig in the middle of your armpit. And if you feel it with your fingertips, you know exactly where you want to hit it. So I'm going to put the ball in the groove, prop it against the wall, literally just dig into the middle of my armpit. Once you feel that tender spot, you know that's the bullseye like you said earlier. And it's tough to really roll this, so what I'll do is I'll just shear it from side to side, do my best to try to stay relaxed. I'm already tight. Last thing I want to do is tense up when I hit that tender spot. And I'll tell people either 10 to 12, 1/1000 seconds, or just 10 to 12 shears back and forth, and that should do the trick and lengthening that area up a little bit.
Or you're like a therapist, Kim.
Well, something like that.
I know. Are you an IFBB pro figure or therapist?
Well, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I train athletes for a living, and they're getting banged up all the time. I got to know how to help fix them.
I can't wait to talk a little bit later then. All right.
Now it's time for the mobility portion of the segment, and we're going to do an exercise called scapular wall slides. It's just going to help get the mid-traps activated, the muscles within the rotator cuff activated, which are going to help the scapula just glide smoothly and activate when you're doing specific types of movement, like overhead movements. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my entire back's on the wall, drop my hips so I'm about a foot's distance from the wall. So without rounding, okay, I'm just going to tuck my hips under, squeeze my glutes so my abs are tight. The key here, retraction of the shoulder blades and compression. So we don't want to start elevating and shrugging. So I'm going to pull down, retract. Best case scenario, I'm mobile enough in my thoracic spine to keep my elbows and my wrists on the wall, entire back on the wall. So I'm going to slide my elbows and my wrists up, staying depressed and retracted, block out, and then slide back down. That would be 1 rep. I recommend doing anywhere from 10 to 12 reps. So again, retracted, depressed, stay that way the entire time, lock those arms out, slide back down again. And if you're doing it right, you're going to feel cramping in your mid-traps, mid-back region. It's a great way to do any kind of prehab or warm-up before like a shoulder day, a chest day, or a back day.
I love it. Awesome.
This anterior, people sleep on that muscle. It is so important to be able to activate those muscles because they help stabilize the scapula. They help the scapula glide along the ribs. So I'm going to show you a mobility exercise that's going to just activate them. And it's called a serratus wall slide. So I'm in a split stance. I've got my forearms against the wall. What I don't want to do is start collapsing. So I want to make sure I've got good posture. Don't want to arch my back, so abs are tight, glutes are tight. So I'm going to protract. So I'm going to push myself away from the wall, protract the scapula. I'm just getting rid of this little gap in the mid part of my back. Once I'm protracted, I'm going to stay protracted, and I'm going to slide the elbows up, maybe slightly above 90. Once you do that, you're going to feel cramping in the muscles around your ribs. That's where the stratus anterior are located. And I'm going to slide down, staying protracted. So again, no movement in the neck or anything, but again, we're going to stay protracted, slide those elbows up, and then go ahead and slide back down. Anywhere from 10 to 12 reps will do the trick. And remember, if you're trying to do any kind of overhead press, the serratus anterior is going to help you get that upward rotation of the scapula so you can get that full range of motion. So definitely recommend it before hitting shoulders.
Awesome.
So pain in the front of the shoulder could be because of a tight pec minor. Today's population spend a lot of time rounded. They've got bad posture. They've got that kind of forward rolling shoulders. And sometimes the pec minor, which lies under the pec major, it attaches the ribs to the scapula basically. It can get shortened, real tight and rigid, and can basically cause some pain in the front part of your shoulder. So if you are experiencing pain, I mean, if you're talking about process of elimination, maybe that's a muscle that you want to hit and lengthen to see if your pain goes away.
All right, guys, so we just wrapped up a very interesting shoot today, and it's actually some of the stuff that Kim showed us. I'm going to put in practice because one of my left shoulder is not good. So it was actually really interesting to hear you talk about all that stuff. Kim, give me a little bit of a background. Obviously, you know your stuff. You seem more like a therapist than a bodybuilder to me. You're figure pro. You just at San Antonio, but give me a little bit of background and how you get into fitness and bodybuilding and what you do for work and all that stuff a little bit.
Okay, so I got into I always was athletic. I grew up with 3 older brothers, so I grew up playing basketball, playing any sport I could, competitive dancer as well.
Wow.
But I didn't play sports in college. I kind of regretted that. And just to make sure I didn't put on the freshman 15, I made sure that I did as much as I could in regards to cardio because we didn't have a gym to stay in shape. When I graduated, I became a personal trainer, did that for a few years. But it really wasn't until about 2008 when I started doing strength and conditioning with athletes. And that's my main gig right now. So my job is to basically enhance performance and decrease the chances of injury within my athletes at El Camino College. So everything I showed you is what I do on a day-to-day with all of my athletes.
And how did you get into that? Why did you become
a strength coach? I went to I was a basketball coach at the time and a full-time teacher, and I went to a basketball coach's clinic at Cal Berkeley. Sat in on a practice, and I saw a strength coach doing these exercises I'd never seen before with the girls. And at that time, I thought the only profession in fitness was a personal trainer.
Right.
So I emailed the person who put on the clinic. They got me in contact with the strength coach, and they hit me back and told me all the steps I had to do to basically become a strength coach, certifications and all that. So it's kind of like I'm lucky that I went to that clinic, or we may not be talking today.
So you found your career?
I found my calling. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And when did you get into competitive bodybuilding and figure and all that stuff?
So Metroflex, got to give them credit. Metroflex in Long Beach.
Oh, great gym.
Amazing gym.
Good people.
It's just changed my life. I started going there in 2012 when it just opened. Walls were white. There was only a handful of pieces of equipment in there and a bunch of competitors. So it's the first time in my life where I was exposed to people who actually competed in the sport, because I watched it growing up, but just didn't know it was feasible or feasible to do it or know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I met people that looked at me at the time and they said, hey, I mean, you're in shape. In 12 weeks you could do a show. Blew my I thought you had to train years for a show. So, you know, right time, right place. Did my first show in 2012. Turned pro in 2014 at USA's.
Wow.
And then just kind of hit the ground running from there, and I've been doing pro shows since.
Did you ever pick figure as your category?
Yeah, I've only done figure.
Some people, you know, they switch along the way. So yeah.
I've thought about physique, but I'm not sure how long it would take to transition in, because that's a completely different level from what figure is.
Yeah.
I think figure is probably the most realistic for me in regards to the kind of look that I want on stage.
How tall are you and how much you weigh? Because it's hard to tell on camera.
People always think I'm taller than I am when I actually see you.
That's what I'm asking.
They always think I'm massive. I'm only 5'2" 3/4", so I'm knocking on 5'3", not quite there yet.
So, I think you're done.
I'm a munchkin, yeah.
So you did a San Antonio. How was the San Antonio Pro?
San Antonio Pro, for me, I was so excited to see my pictures, because from the previous show, which was a New York Pro, until that show, San Antonio, it was a 12-week gap. And I was told, you got to get bigger. You got to get your lats bigger, your delts, your whole upper body bigger, because I've got these massive legs that kind of overpower my physique.
I see.
And I did that. I mean, my back picture, to me, I was so, oh my God, I was so hyped about my back picture. I looked a lot wider than I did in New York. And I didn't place, but I think it's about the journey.
It's about the progress,
it's about
of course.
The progress.
Of course.
And if I look at every single year I've competed, the last show of the year, I look better and better and better. And ultimately, that's all I can do.
You win. You win every time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. What is next for you, Kim?
So next is off season, so more food. And
are you gonna get heavy?
Am I gonna get heavy? I'm gonna get bigger, but I'm not gonna let myself go.
I can't imagine you not being me. For some reason, I've got this image of you who's always in shape. Am I right, or?
You know, I'm gonna get a little fluffy. But it's all for the cause. It's all good. And basically, my first show of the year next year is probably gonna be the Pittsburgh Pro.
Okay.
So spend a few months putting on some mass, getting wider, getting my delts bigger, working on the package, and then again bringing a completely different, vastly different package that I did for San Antonio to the Pittsburgh Pro in May.
Do you have a team behind you? Do you have anyone helping you out with the?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So talk about them.
So Kevin Libby, Performance Fitness Concepts. He actually works out here all the time. Started working with him at the end of my Gov Cup prep in March. His knowledge about nutrition is off the charts. I'm doing stuff in this prep eating wise that I've never done before.
Nice.
He keeps fruit in, and he keeps certain things in that have kind of been taboo in the bodybuilding world, but my body responds to it.
Nice.
And he's able to make these minor adjustments with my nutrition, and my body just like it responds. So
wow.
So very glad to be working with him. He's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are a good team. How long have you been working together?
Literally just started with him in March. Before that, Monica Specking, who's an IFBB figure pro, was my coach. I'd say my second season when I got serious about competing, 2013, is when I started working with Monica.
Okay.
And she actually got me to the pro level. So
wow.
I've been fortunate enough to work with people who aren't spread too thin.
Yeah.
They have just enough clients where they can give you that special attention, and I wouldn't be here, right now, where I am right now, if it wasn't for them.
Well, you must have talent too, otherwise I don't know. Take some of the credit.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for coming in today. I'm really glad we got to connect, and I hope that next time you compete, we actually get to see you before the show. That'd be great.
Let's do it then.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kim.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
All right.